Bob had his theme, or nobody can play this character. But his theme was about, let me depress you more and more with that. Let me see. And we're back.
Okay, we're back. So today is
Patty.
Patty.
Yeah. Okay, so my movie is called The Pianist. But I nearly said. It's adapted from this is the name of the book. The autobiography, The Pianist, extraordinary true story of one man's survival in Warsaw. And this happens, it's a true story, which I love. Adrian Brody plays, now this guy's name,
well,
I'm gonna kill it.
Spielman.
Walashka Spillman. Let's just go Mr. Spillman. Okay.
Spillman
Is a Polish Jewish, like a radio pianist, right? And he's considered one of the top. It's a survival story. I'm fascinated by survival stories, especially if they're true, because I always like the psychology of it. So is it a happy movie? No. But I found it riveting. Okay. So he's being faced with now having to go into the Warsaw ghetto. And what happens is he escapes, and then he starts his process of hiding. What makes this movie so good is it really shows he does this alone, and you really see the effects of hunger, loneliness, and just fear of being caught. What Adrian Brody did was to get into the mindset of something like this. He lost 31 pounds, and he gave up his apartment, his girlfriend, his car to be alone. And he spent 4 months every day for 4 hours learning Chopin so he could play.
Oh, so that's actually him playing then.
Parts of it. Parts of it.
Yeah,
him
you
playing.
can see some of the time it's him playing.
You really see he's such a good actor, and I really never was really into Adrian Brody until, funny enough, Predator. But then I saw this, and you just are hanging on, hoping he's not going to get caught. And he almost gets caught a couple of times, but his acting is so good that he gets a little bit of help here and there. But you're watching a man starve to death, basically, but just being so alone. I kept thinking, what does he do all day? He has to be in an apartment. He can't make any noise. And that's what he does. And they show this.
he can't. Yeah,
And there's a piano there, and he can't play it, which must be help. So if you don't like survival movies, you probably won't like this. But this is one of my favorite movies. Adrian Brody won an Academy Award for Best Actor. Roman Polanski directed it. It's part of Roman Polanski's memories of childhood, because he was in the war.
yeah. He was in the concentration camp.
Yeah, with his mom.
In Poland.
Yeah.
No, with his dad. His dad pushed him through the gates, and he wandered Warsaw by himself as a 7-year-old.
Yeah. Well, that's what this is kind of based on.
Right.
It won Best Movie in 2003. In 2003 is when they won all these awards. It won Best Film for the BAFTA Awards, and an award called the Caesar Award, which I don't know what that is.
That's the French
French
Academy
side, yeah,
Awards.
French
Probably
Academy.
for best foreign film.
Oh, okay. That's the movie.
Well, I had never seen this because I was one of those people who sort of objected to Roman Polanski's lifestyle, shall we say, which made him flee America. But I had no qualms with watching the actual movie, so it's like, okay. I just know I don't actively seek out his movies. Watching this movie, I just have to admit that Roman Polanski is such a great filmmaker. He really is. He's one of the few filmmakers for me who's still cinematic. Every shot seems to have a meaning. Every shot is just wonderful looking, whether it's the bombed out Warsaw after the uprising, the ghetto in itself, even pre-ghetto, of them just walking down the streets of Warsaw and seeing things. The drama in itself, I got a little bored with it, I have to admit, because at one point, I was telling Bob this, I'm watching the movie, it's like, how much more time? It's like 40 more minutes. It's like, oh my God,
They're
because
going to make you suffer with them.
it's not, that's it. It's just not an easy movie to watch. And that's why I think I also avoided it. But it is such a fascinating story about this young musician who I can't even imagine. Uh, Stuff like this, it's just so mind boggling to me to have to put yourself out there and you just, and again, just, oh, the government says to do this. Okay, let's just keep doing this. And just each time you're going closer and closer. Okay, no, something's wrong. You know, something's wrong. Halfway through the film, Adrian Brody's character, goes through something that, again, with the loneliness, it's like, that's the one point where I said, okay, now I'm really feeling bad for him because he is sort of leaving his one life behind and has to go and make sure he survives and for his own sake, basically. But you wonder what's going through his head because they don't do that, except you do see it on his face.
Right.
I made the miming of the piano because that's one thing you see him. He's not playing the keys, but he's still airing like he's actually playing. And I thought, how fascinating that is because that's all he sort of loves and knows still that's in his life, that is still there that he can do. Except, like you said, he has to be quiet. He can't make noise, so he can't actually play his music at all. And so it's not an easy movie to watch, I don't think. I was sort of fascinated, though, by what people did in Warsaw, because with the Warsaw Uprising, I'd never seen that depicted on screen for me personally. So what the people of Warsaw, the non-Jewish people, did in Warsaw, just to sort of get rid of the Nazis or rebel against them, they really did sort of fight them at a certain time point. So that was sort of something I wasn't privy to, or how should I put it? How was the Nazis going to change towards the end of the war? Because when the uprising came in, I think in like 45, and by 46, I think they were freed.
Wasn't the
Yeah.
war ended in 45?
Well, that's what I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
It,
that was
the,
going to
war-
be
the
earlier.
war. Well, the war itself might have ended, but
Because remember, the Russians had already been
Well, see, the
there
Russians
into
were coming
Germany,
in, right?
to Germany. So
But
they'd
that's what I'm
already
saying,
been
but-
through Poland.
But okay, because I was thinking it was like a year or something later, because that was the only thing I was thinking about. It's like, wow, the fact that all these prisoners were freed, like I said, by Russia, and then now they have to go on and sort of relive
Make
their
a life,
lives
yeah.
after that. I was almost hoping they would show more of his life, in fact, coming into almost present time, because he died, I think, like in 2000, right? It
Right.
was something. It was.
He
well,
became a pianist. He still continued being
Yeah,
a
he
pianist.
went back to playing.
No, exactly. And, they sort of show that too. But just, I would want all his life. I would like to see how do you deal with, after what you've seen, what somebody goes through like that,
You're screwed
how
up.
do you survive after that? Because that to me was actually, would be even
Hardest.
more inspiring as far as
Yeah.
how you live your life. That's the one thing with all this Holocaust survivors, it's like when they talk about, when you lose everything, you just have everything to live for after that. And I wonder, it's like, do you really though?
I
Can
think,
you forget stuff that happens to you?
I think that it's controversial. For me to say that he went through it when he started at. Well, in the movie he's older, but I'm saying it's Roman Polanski's movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's easier to go through it when you're 7 years old because you have no this is just life. This
Right.
is the way it is.
You always accept
right?
things, yeah.
It's easier
Mhm.
than when you're an adult and you have to adjust to this.
Because
new-
children, that's all they know, so they think that's the way.
yeah,
it is.
children
Right.
find it easier to
They
so.
accept things, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, how do they know?
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
maybe that's what you do.
Yeah.
Or
You
just,
know?
be put in certain situations where it's like, well, how do you talk your way out of this? Or, just that at any moment somebody might kill you
Right.
because of who you are.
Well, they
you know.
say that with children, don't abuse children because they become abusive people.
Right.
You're going to be screwed up. Know that.
Mhm.
You're going to be screwed up.
And I'm not gonna. Adrian Brody is, I think, very good in this. He's excellent in
Oh,
it.
he's excellent.
All the rest of the cast, I think, are also very good
absolutely.
playing their roles. There's just, it's just sort of, it just seems like it's a singular movie, though. I
It
mean, they
is.
really based it on this one character. So everything you're getting is from that character. There's some wonderful bits with the family, I think, that was sort of interesting. But like I said, this is not an easy movie to watch. I mean, I I just find movies like Schindler's List. I watched once. I said I'm never watching that again.
Well, that's what I was going to
That was
say. I
so
was like, Patty, what's your
difficult.
next movie? Mississippi Burning, Pianist. What is next one? Schindler's List?
Actually, I was actually thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
George, what do you think?
But yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, it was like you said, Patty's like Bob had his theme, or nobody can play this character. Patty's theme was about, let me depress you more and more with that. Let me see, it
I
was
never find these things
I mean,
depressing.
it was
It's like
glory.
uplifting.
No,
Glory-
things are sort of fascinating too, aren't they?
it was Glory, then Mississippi Burning, now the Pianist. Next is Schindler's List. I was like- but yeah, it is a really good movie. Right, Ron Polanski is really amazing director. And Adrian Brody is really good too. I think I saw it when it first came out, and I think then I was thinking of unless I'm thinking of another movie that's the same thing, about making a comment of how the actor, their facial expressions constantly got me. Like there was a lot of no dialogue in the middle of the movie, and it's more like their facial expressions. Now it could be confusing with another movie too, but I also thought that the movie, a lot of these movies also show you, like when you're talking about even with the Holocaust or slavery or just all that crap that's going on, how like Paul McCartney and Steve Wonder said there's good and bad in everyone, everyone in Ivory. So because it shows you that people can be shady to their own people when they're struggling. Like in this movie, it shows that too, that a lot of Jewish people were shady to their own people,
Right.
and then it shows that even like that, some Nazis too were not shady to some.
Yeah, that guy Nazi saved him.
Yeah, so you see that, but I see a lot of that theme in these movies too. Like Spielberg does that a lot too, where he does movies where he shows people a lot of times almost like your enemy helps you, and your own friend screws you, kind of, in those situations where you're at that level. It's humanity, survival. So that's the one point a lot of movies make, that we're all human, and it can be, people, you never know how people can act. So it is very depressing. I think Adrian Brody became the youngest actor to win an Oscar for this. Won an Oscar for this role, and then I don't know.
Jodie
if
Foster.
No, Tatum O'Neill.
Tatum O'Neill.
But there was a supporting actress, so this might have been the youngest actor.
Yeah,
Patty
I'm reading
Duke
it,
win
yeah.
an Oscar?
Hmm?
Patty Duke?
Well,
She
at this
played
point,
for
Yeah,
the
well,
it says-
Again, I think that was a
Helen
supporting
Keller?
Oscar.
yeah, at this point it says he's the youngest actor. At least maybe I don't know.
Well, like
since
I
then.
said, best actor.
Best actor.
Yeah.
But Oscar is a best actor. So I don't even know how young he was. So, but and also when this kind of movies too, the one thing is that in the movies they have to show you how cruel people are. Like if you watch Holocaust movies, they're gonna show you how cruel the Nazis are. So, or slavery movies, any of those movies. So you have to brace yourself, because those things are coming. Those scenes are coming, because they have to set it up. So I'm always like, oh, it's rough. Like so. I just lost my train of thought there, but so they have to show you how bad they are. So I'm always never looking forward to that. Like, oh, here we go. I don't have to watch it, because they need to show me how terrible they are and how awful the situation of these people went through.
Right.
So you can see it for yourself and go, wow. And I can even imagine going through stuff like that they went through, Jewish people with the Nazis. But a lot of groups have gone through in history
Right.
throughout history, tons of groups have gone through terrible things from other groups. So, but the movie, it is a great movie. Depressing. I probably don't. I saw it once. I never wanted to like the Schindler's List. Once is good enough for me. I saw it now because you did it, but it was one I was like, okay, but it's someone that I don't want to sit down and watch again. But it is a brilliant movie.
I saw this when it came out on a screener, and I said, "Well, this is an incredible movie." I just thought, "Wow," and I didn't know that I felt so great about him winning a Best Oscar. I mean, he's great in the movie. I don't remember who all else was up that year, but So I was looking forward to seeing it, and I watched it, and I watched about 15 minutes or so, and then I had to take a break, and then I just never got back to watching any more of it. I
Oh,
said,
this
I
will be a
don't.
short
Do I want to
break.
sit through this anymore? I mean, I saw it once. It was really great. I do remember Thomas Kretschmer, I think, is the actor who plays the Nazi in it, right?
Yes.
He was great. He was sensational in
He
it.
had such a tiny role. That's what actually
Well,
surprised me for having second billing.
Yeah.
Yeah, except
But nobody had a big
it's
role.
very memorable and very crucial to the whole thing.
To the plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
But and I thought he did a wonderful job too.
He did.
Thomas Kretschmer was just wonderful in that. But I mean, everybody was really good in it. Adrian Brody was really good in it. But I just the second time through it was like enough already. It's not. I'm not. It's not catching fire with
You
me.
should have been there when the Nazis were
I-
like, enough already.
Well, that's what I told that fuck Hitler. Would he listen to me? No. But this one was just. It's a great movie. Watch the movie, but it is, as everybody is saying, it's a rough one to sit through, and to sit through a second time, couldn't do it.
Hold on, before you start, one thing, check out 2003 Best Actor category.
Yeah.
Adrian Brody won for The Pianist. But I'm saying the contenders,
nominees,
the
right?
nominees were the competition was Nicolas Cage, adaptation as Charlie Kaufman,
Oh,
Michael Caine, The Quiet American,
Oh, that was my
I
favorite.
love
That
that
was one of my
movie.
favorites.
Daniel Day-Lewis, Gangs of New York.
I thought he was excellent.
I thought
too.
he was horrible.
So Daniel Day-Lewis, Gangs of New York, and Jack Nicholson, About Schmidt. Those were the who we beat.
I would have gone with Nicolas Cage on that.
Oh, I love Michael
The
Caine.
Quiet American was a great
That
movie.
Michael
great.
Caine,
The Quiet
too.
American
Yeah,
was fantastic. But I also think
Boy.
would have no problem with him winning this.
Let's ask Halle Berry who she would want to have won.
What do you think, Susie, of this movie?
Okay, this was I forced myself to watch it yesterday because I was putting it off. Yours second off. But
Yes.
yours was the last
Off,
one.
off.
Yeah.
I watched it this morning. And that's the same thing. Reason.
Because like I said, it's a very interesting movie. It's a historical movie. But it's not an enjoyable movie only because it's so good. Like what I heard is that, and I love Roman Polanski. I'm sorry, I don't care what he did. I just love him as a director. I think he's fantastic. And one thing they said, and the thing that they did, that like the cinematographer, he starts draining the color out of the movie as it goes along. These are little things that he does. But this guy knows what he's talking about. That the Roman Polanski was there. That's how you feel. It was real. It was real. And that even makes it worse.
Okay.
It's like you feel like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And that's what what I read was he did this movie. He came from a place of non-judgmentalness.
Right.
This is what happened. This is the way it was. This is what occurred. And I'm not picking good guys or bad guys. I'm just telling you the story, and that's all.
Yeah.
And
Well-
I thought that's what I love about his movies.
Right.
He has this third person way of looking at things. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
just like as if you're like the fly on the wall.
Right.
So I think he's a brilliant. And I do think that I have no qualms with him winning the Academy Award with that performance. It must be, but I really loved the last part, where it's kind of almost redeeming, like to human nature. The Nazi, and that guy was a high up guy,
Yeah, Commander.
yeah.
Mhm.
He was so matter of fact, and he was actually very kind.
He helped more than just this guy.
You know that.
He helped many, many
Yes, but
Jews.
he died in maybe
in a Russian,
Right.
in a
Right.
Russian
prisoner
jail.
of war camp.
Right.
Right.
Maybe 7 years later.
Right. 1952. It's
Yeah.
Yeah. There was just many things to. It wasn't simple. That's what I'm saying. It wasn't simple, because some of the people that you don't like in this movie are actually fellow Jewish people in
Right.
this movie, and that some people you actually really admire in this movie is like
Is a
the
Nazi.
Nazi
Yeah.
guy, and which is one reason why I like Schindler's List too.
Right.
The guy's a Nazi. Right? So it just makes you feel, but there's not just these good guys, bad guys.
Ebony and Ivory.
People in very stressed situation, right? People in stressed situation. That's what it
yeah.
react differently.
Right.
And you can see that you know what I mean? Like it just
It's interesting too when the evil is so obvious. You don't have to underline that it's evil.
except
You treat it as being matter of fact.
but where's the evil coming from? You know what I mean? Where's the evil coming from?
Well, that's a different movie.
All these people are caught up in the evil.
Yeah.
They're all caught up in the evil.
Yeah, but I mean, where it's coming from would be a different movie. This is a movie about the effect of this evil on people without underlining, oh, these guys are mustache twirlers.
Right.
It's just presenting it and saying, like,
In fact,
you know,
and there was another thing that he wanted to show in this movie, in this film also, that people who survived or didn't survive had a lot to do with just luck. It's
Absolutely.
not
Yeah.
just luck
yeah.
of who you ran into. Like remember you just reminded me the mustache guy which was actually the Jewish guy,
Right.
right? That was one of that when they were putting people on the trains.
yeah.
He's the one who saved his life. He's the one who pulled him out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, the Hitler-looking guy, this Jewish Hitler-looking guy who had the Hitler mustache, right? And he was trying to, and he's like, "Shut up! I just saved your life."
Yeah.
And it was
Right,
like,
it's luck.
yeah, it was kind of like, it's really not an internal thing. That's what he's saying. It's like mostly people just were in the right place or the wrong place or
Right.
that, and who you meet, and it's kind of very fickle. That's
Yeah.
what he's saying. It's very fickle.
Or the gods were smiling at you that day.
Yes. So yeah, it was a very intense movie. It's not something I'd like to go through. It again, but I felt like I felt like I was watching somebody who knew what really happened. This wasn't a movie. This wasn't just a
Yeah.
movie.
Right.
This was somebody who really understood. Like there's a scene where they're in the ghettos and they show you building the ghetto. Like I say, the color slowly drains and drains and drains. But there's a point where they go back into the main part of the city
Right.
working,
It's bright.
and it's just
Color.
bright color. It's like, oh, that still exists.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right next door. And I thought of actually another situation, which I won't get into because it's too political, but there's a wall. And outside of that wall is like color, and they're having fun and they're going shopping. And this side of the wall is just
Misery.
misery.
Yeah, total
Exactly.
misery.
So that's like I said, it's not a movie that you will, it's an experience. There, let's put it that way.
It's kind of like now I've seen it twice and I'm good.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess this was your movie, right? Okay.
Yes, I gave it a 6.
Well, it's a 10 for me.
I give it a 10.
I give it a 10.
Wow.
I mean, it's a 10, but I wouldn't suggest you,
Right.
watch it.
Interesting. Okay.
Okay, so that ends our episode 74. I hope you enjoyed the movies. I hope you'll check out some of these movies and let us know what you think. A special thanks to the French person who sent us the movies. I hope you like that we did 2 French movies this time.
And I'm sorry I didn't like them.
Oh, and I want to do more.
I like to
I
see
said,
it.
The Visitors.
Yeah.
I
So
wanna do the
I like to
Visitors.
Oh, the
doesn't matter.
Visitors. I got
Okay,
yeah.
fugitives.
Okay, so remember to subscribe, like us, and
Hello.
we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.